Good morning, God morning, devotees of light, prince and princesses of peace, children of the Most High. I'd like you all just to maybe be aware of breath, few inhales, exhales, sighing it out, whatever you need to do. Sitting up tall on your seat, perhaps, but do a little guided visualization, one you've heard before, but classic for this first chakra, which we're going to dive into straight away after we tune in. The sacred fire at our root chakra. Imagine lighting that or having it always on, and you just turn your consciousness into the spiritual eye, but you're aware of the root chakra where you're going to just have a blazing fire of constant remembrance of the beloved and your oneness with the beloved and everyone's joy in that beloved. All right. But first, I'd like to start with a poem of Yogananda's, 3 verses. You've heard the song before, maybe not all 3 verses, but just feeling the warmth of that fire, the divine presence, the light of love on you right now, the glow of your own soul. Let's just start to dive deep, anchor in that which is changeless, your immortal soul. On my soul's altar, I tend a sacred fire. On my soul's altar, I tend a sacred fire of constant remembrance of thee. I have finished all stories of dreams, painted brightly and darkly. Finished all stories of dreams, painted brightly and darkly on the world screen of delusion. With my sleepless eyes of love, with my sleepless eyes of love, I ever gaze on thy face. I ever gaze on thy face. With my sleepless eyes, with my sleepless eyes, with my sleepless eyes of love. And now this guided visualization, one that we should do every time we sit to meditate, starting right here in this root chakra, to inflame that fire of our constant remembrance, burning all stories of dreams, and making new determinations to keep our eyes on the prize, lifting the point between the eyebrows with a heart that is also ablaze with undeviating and single-hearted devotion. Sit upright, says Yogananda. Shoulder blades together. Chest out. Abdomen in. Hands at juncture of thighs and abdomen. Close your eyes. Concentrate at the point between the eyebrows where you can enter the state of super consciousness. Turn your attention away from the body and outer perceptions. Forget the body. Forget the earth. Forget the sky. Forget the sun. moon and stars. Forget everything. Forget the bones. Forget the flesh and thoughts and feelings, and forget all lesser perceptions, that you may concentrate on and feel only one goal of perception: the perception of vastness that lies within you. The perception of vastness that lies within you. Feel that only the vastness of spirit exists. Feel that only the vastness of spirit exists. Repeat to yourself, I am infinite. I am infinite. I am infinite. Go on, mentally affirming, I am infinite. I am infinite. I am infinite. Until you feel that you are everything beyond everything. I am infinite. I am infinite. Continue affirming, I am infinite, until you feel that you are everything beyond everything. Affirm, I am beyond body, thought, and utterance, beyond all matter and mind. I am spaceless. I am timeless. I am eternal, infinite blessedness. I am beyond body, thought, and utterance, beyond all matter and mind. I am spaceless. I am timeless. I am eternal, infinite blessedness. Meditate on that. He goes on to say, concentrate at the point between the eyebrows. Expel the breath in a double exhalation. Then inhale slowly through the nostrils. Hold the breath, counting 1 to 20. And feel all bodily energy is concentrated at the point between the eyebrows. That all your bodily energy is concentrated at the point between the eyebrows. Exhale slowly. And then again, inhale slowly through the nostrils. Hold the breath, counting 1 to 25. Feeling all energies gathering at the point between the eyebrows. Exhale slowly. Now inhale, then throw the breath out in a double exhalation. And inhale through the nostrils slowly. Counting this time 1 to 40, holding the breath. Filling the space between the eyebrows with the gathered life energy from the whole body. Exhale slowly. Now, inhale. Then throw the breath out in a double exhalation. And forget it. Concentrating at the point between the eyebrows, visualizing and feeling there the luminous light of life energy. concentrating at the point between the eyebrows, visualizing and feeling there the luminous light of life energy. That light is spreading, ever spreading, ever spreading. It is increasing, swallowing up your body and all space. It is increasing, swallowing up your body and all space. All space is ablaze like a flaming ball of light and love. All space is ablaze like a flaming ball of light and life. This ball of flame is permeated with boundless happiness. This ball of flame is permeated with boundless happiness. Thou art that. Thou art that joyful flame of infinite happiness in which everything finite has melted and merged. Thou art that joyful flame of infinite happiness in which everything finite has melted and merged. Meditate on that. With thanks to the one who is the soul doer in you, the God who's hiding in you, yet the God who is doing you, thinking you, keeping your atoms together, giving you the brain to think and the five senses to look out into this rather dense 3D, HD heavy delusion world of relativity, but knowing that just underneath the waves of change is the blissful God presence and the truth of you and me in the oneness with the Great Spirit. And then just bow, lower your chin, bow your head, and thank Divine Mother for another amazing day, for this breath, for this possibility, for the little maybe speck of light that you're perceiving now, this little burst of joy you might be intuiting right now. And this presence, this loving presence that seems to be closer than ever to you right now. Be embraced by it and return the embrace. Give that spirit a huge soul hug. And so it is. May the blessings be, as they always are, with us now and forevermore. Amen. So we're calling this stream today the Become Etherealized, Part 2. And we're going to start at the yamas, first chakra, those practices that have you avoid with self-restraint and the help of Sahadeva, who is the Pandu that lives there. Sahadeva, the power of self-restraint from all those things that having you forget God and getting entangled once again in even the slightest little distraction outside of your soul cave. At the root of you, the coccyx center, where you are now reclaiming that divinity through regular meditation, through practicing the presence, through avoiding, as I mentioned, all those things. You could call them your energy leaks, and plugging up one by one by having a beautiful soul quality or a beautiful garden, planting seeds of immortality at your root chakra, right? And absorbing yourself in those 5 yamas. Last week, it was a little confusing for me because I was going backwards and we did the niyamas first at the second chakra, and I transposed a couple of yamas in those niyamas, and maybe even said those niyamas last week were the yamas, but we'll go over them again today and it'll be super clear. And we're going to start right now with the very first yama at the root chakra. which basically, if you were to have to use only one word to explain the 5 yamas at the root chakra, it would be no, no, no to this, no to that, neti, neti, not this, not that, no. And then turn immediately to the big yes, which is your niyamas at your second chakra. Yes, this is what I want to focus on. But the very first yama is satya. Satya. The others are all put in a negative, meaning that you need to avoid them. But satya isn't saying asat here at this first yama. It's asat is the opposite, non-truth. Asat. We are just pure satya or sat. The Satya Yuga practices, right? Golden Age practices, truth, pure and simple, everlasting, ongoing, never changes, has always been, always will be, for eternity, ongoing bliss, light and love and happiness, joy, and all that beautiful stuff, right? Satya. So, what is the greatest Satya? What would you say is the greatest truth for you? Well, I would say that's just for a base foundational rock of Gibraltar. Let's just say it's to know yourself as immortal soul, one with the supreme infinite spirit. I am soul, the I am. I am you, Lord, and you are all. The I am. I am spaceless, right? I am timeless. I am eternal blessedness of spirit. The I am, reclaiming who we really are and whose we really are at your root chakra. So you start with that yama. And it's rather important, I do believe, that we do have that sacred fire burning. But let's just say that this first thing, if you were to close your eyes in the morning and you were to maybe have done some breathing exercises and you're really starting to dial into the truth of you as at the root chakra, which is this soul, immortal soul, that's disguised now in the eclipsed by the darkness of the king material desire that also resides there, giving you a lot of trouble and having you be focused outward. But you want to just begin to realize that you are none of that. The nose, neti neti, not this, not that. I'm not the bones. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not the thoughts. I'm not the feeling. Well, who am I? I am you, and you are all. So we want to feel a complete expansion of our little ego self identity and begin to put this identity of who we really are. Soul, one with the infinite spirit, immortal, immortal. And that is this idea that ever since you came into existence, whether it started in the rocks and then you evolved into the plants and then you had some time being an animal and then as human incarnations, and now you are going for that Superman and Superwoman awakened consciousness incarnation, right? As totally self-realized, where truth isn't just an idea or a thought or a word. It is absolutely your experience. So I'd like to say that right there at that rock of Gibraltar is to remember who you are. So that fire that you're burning here at your root chakra is the constant remembrance of God, where you're burning all stories of dreams, your worldly dreams, over and over again. And with your heart set like the diamond, in the ring of your heart is the diamond. Your heart is set that I am you, Lord. You are all. I am omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, right? I am infinite. I am blessed spirit. I am the Holy Ghost. And the second niyama, the second yama, of these neti-netis, not this, not that. What to avoid? It's ahimsa. So there's that ahimsa, which is nonviolence. And basically, the violence that I just want to say, we could talk forever around all these things, right? But basically, it's when you do forget God. It's when you are in that ego-minded state, and it is just about it's all about you, your plans, what you're feeling, what you're identifying with, which is body consciousness. The feelings identified with them, thoughts identified with them, this person identified with whatever they just said, and identified with what you heard in the news, and giving it a reality. Actually, when we're here, we have to now awaken our soul consciousness and become more aware of the soul, so we can stamp like a stamp on our old conditioned body awareness, consciousness, habits, addictions, binges, and splurging here and splurging there on whatever the world is throwing at us, that we just now have a new stamp, soul stamp, that you impinge every time you sit to meditate on your body identification. What has happened here is that the body is now completely stamped its false, delusive nature as a pseudo soul on that soul of yours. So we're reversing it here. So the nonviolence practice is, once again, sacred fire. Burn the thoughts, burn the story. I'm not this, not that. I am you. You are all. I am that I am, and I'm all that I am. I am you, and you are bliss, Lord. I am that I am. So there it is. No more affliction of pain to yourself, which happens when you forget God. No more affliction of worry to yourself, which happens when you forget God. No more affliction of thinking this world is real. No more. When it's not. What's real is you're becoming etherealized. We're graduating from being human just completely, and we're going to be more astral. We're going to have more light and more energy, for starters, and then the pure consciousness that goes with that. The third yama is brahmacharya, which I mentioned last week, which just means someone who is so dedicated in their search for God that they are intending, they are willing to put God first in this life. That means they're going to sacrifice things that would be a little distraction here and a little distraction there, and they would get busy and just get to their practices. And remember that I've done that lifetimes, but this time, Lord, my life is for you. And this is that practice, of moderation and with the five senses, as we start to get the control of the reins of the five sense steeds, that we start to be moderate more with our outer five senses exploration into worldly pleasures or whatever, right? That we kind of put a little dampening switch on there, just in moderation. And basically you could say that this is like the transmuting part of that soul rebel at the root chakra, where you're transmuting anything that isn't of the truth, that is asat, and you're focusing on the opposite good quality and transmuting it, always thinking of the opposite good quality, right? But it is the Adam and Eve story, and it is basically that you're in a Garden of Eden as a pure soul, as God has originally planned, but also there was this idea that no, it's going to be in a duality. So here comes that temptation, and then he said, just okay, but if you want to be able to create immaculately, you want to enjoy all the soul pleasures in my Garden of Eden and the consciousness of your soul, great, but just don't touch the fruit in the middle of the garden, which is that sex force, right? And just avoid that. So we don't make a big deal about, oh no, can't do, get all weird about it. We just say, okay, but I'm going after pure love. I'm an invisible and tangible being here. I'm pure soul. I am light. I'm love, you know. And I got source helping me big time here, and the masters to just try to, start planting that soul garden right there in the root chakra, and then being meticulously a divine kind of gardener with the divine gardener who is going to be doing the real gardening for you. All right. So that's the brahmachari. And then we have what I'm going to turn to negatives, the asteya, which is stealing, don't steal, and aparigraha, coveting, don't covet. I'm going to turn those around, as I mentioned briefly last week when I made these ones part of the niyamas, but the asteya, non-stealing, and the or don't steal, and the aparigraha is coveting. So in this sacred fire, you just bring those masters in there. You're never alone with them, and you and them are holding the space. And every time Yogananda said you put your consciousness and a pure motive and your heart's devotion on one of the masters, you will steal their vibrations. You will steal them. So let's steal away, kids. Let's just call SOS, Spirit, oh Spirit, help me. Spirit, oh Spirit, help me. Right? Spirit, oh Spirit, SOS, and you start to steal the vibrations. So then, on the same thing with coveting, right? Let's covet that we are this immortal soul, that we are pure light, that we are pure love, that we live forever, right? We cannot die. The reality of our life, we've never sinned. Let's covet that. Let's covet that. So look at that. You just start with the big bang, man. The Satya. I am you, Lord. You are all. I am that I am, and I'm all that I am. And then you just make sure that you're just huddled up by that sacred fire, throwing in your story, throwing in this temptation, and then burning to a crisp today, all that stuff, so that you have no violence. You're at peace within your being. There's no agitation because you're getting all your feathers, your ego feathers up and hot and bothered, and there you go, right? So we have that beautiful practice of being really super kind and self-loving to ourselves. So there is no more harm. So ahimsa, no more harm to ourselves and others. And then we have this beautiful transmutation of all our lesser things, creating the opposite good quality and planting the seeds and growing that positive good seed. And especially with more self-control. Yogananda, I've said some rad things about the sex force. He said, if you're single, he said, you have to be celibate. And if you get married, that force is used only to create children. He doesn't mess around with those big boys, but that means a lot of people just go, oh, I think that's not my favorite. That's not my favorite yama, for sure. All right. So we have beautiful moderation, and we're happy because of that. Really happy. This is like, if you want to be happy, stop doing the things that make you unhappy. That's that root chakra right there. All right. And then we just sitting by the fire, got all the help in the universe with Divine Mother. Everybody's there, especially the masters, helping you with every breath, every cool and warm current that you revolve around your spine. And so you're just stealing good vibes. Got all the help. Remember, SOS, Spirit, oh Spirit, help me. You got all that help. And then you covet how cozy it is to get close to your soul, to embrace your soul, to practice being that soul, to knowing that you are immortal. It's so huge. Don't forget. It's not just like, sometimes I can forget and just, no. Why would you say you actually going after untruth? No, I'm going to go after this untruth. It's not real, I know, but I'm going to go after it anyway. No, that's not too much wisdom, and we need that wisdom big time. All right. So those are your niyamas. No, those are not your niyamas. Why do I get it? Geez, those are your yamas. the don'ts. All right, right there. Did you get them? Satya, truth, ahimsa, no more forgetfulness. Moderation, brahmachari, asteya. I'm going to steal the master's vibrations and their constant love and care for me. And then I'm going to covet. I'm going to covet this light of my soul here, the root chakra, in the sacred fire of constant remembrance as I burn my stories, burn all my stories painted brightly and darkly on the screen of delusion. And then with my sleepless eyes of love, I ever gaze on thy face. With my sleepless eyes, with my sleepless eyes, with my sleepless eyes of love. So I'd like you to read to you this morning the Jesus Calling. I believe it's today's reading, actually, which fits perfectly for this root chakra. So look at how strong you are at the root, at the base, at the rocket Gibraltar of your life, right? Where King Material Desires is never asleep, King, and to pull you out from your from true north, for having even your coordinates set towards the north star, right? He wants to not have you completely blind to the truth here. That's why he's the blind mind. All right. So this is make me your focal point. Make me your focal point as you move through this day, just as a spinning ballerina must keep returning her eyes to a given point to maintain her balance, so you must keep returning your focus to me. Circumstances are in flux, and the world seems to be whirling around you. The only way to keep your balance is to fix your eyes on me, the one who never changes. And since you are a perfect reflection, absolutely one with that spirit, that is the source of all of us, then you too are never changing, never changing. I am ever the same. I am ever the same. I am an immortal soul, right? That you too are never changing. If you gaze too long at your circumstances, you will become dizzy and confused. Look to me, refreshing yourself in my presence, and your steps will be steady and sure. But you remain the same, says Psalm, and your years will never end. I'm ever the same. I'm always happy. I am always one with the great love. I am always at peace, in the highest peace of the inner worlds. This then is how we know that we belong to the truth, and how we set our hearts at rest in his presence whenever our hearts condemn us, for God is greater than our hearts and he knows everything. So this is just, anchor in that which is changeless. Take refuge in your soul self. So, but look how it goes into the niyamas. What is the first niyama? So you got this sacred fire that you're constantly tending to, constantly burning your story, constantly remembering who you are and whose you are, right? In that root chakra, gathering the masters with you, coveting every moment that you turn toward the light. Beautiful stuff. And then what? Do you go out and then face the world in your second chakra? No, you run as fast as you can into Ishvara Pranadhana, which is Divine Mother, which is right into her arms, into the womb. There you go. I surrender to the mother as fast as I can. I run into her arms and I surrender to her love. I surrender to love. I surrender to love. I surrender to love. I surrender to her love, right? And then you're muy contento. Remember that Santosh? So once you're in her arms, you're in your arms. In all the niyamas, you're in her arms, okay? You're in her arms. So contentment is the second niyama. These are the adherences. This is nakula. These are the things you stick to with like everything you've got, non-negotiables, surrender with devotion, and then be super content just being held by her as a little soul baby, right? You're going to steal your way to heaven, secreted on her lap. And then we had purity. How could you not be like a pure little baby? In that consciousness, if you're surrendered to the mother, not only does she see you purely, but your soul is going to also see you as pure too. So you have purity, satya. And then the tapas, what is the tapas, or the self-discipline of the niyamas that we talked about last week? What is it? It is the self-control, is the self-discipline to stay in the hug, never leave the hug. Thank you, Divine Mother. I trust you. I love you. You're taking care of this detail. Whatever happens is directly being orchestrated by her. She's the motivating force. God's soul is the powers you up, and she operates you. So she's the soul operator. She's directing every footstep. She's got your day plan and everything. So the tapas is to stay there in the hug and just thank her over and over and over again. Okay. And then I love this swadhyaya, or the self-study of the last niyama, where it is really, what is it a study of? The highest wisdom, self-study, the highest truth. What is it? Total, the wisdom. You're going to see how this all ties together, right? So look at those niyamas, you run into her arms and that's it. You're content. You're pure. You're never going to leave her. You trust her. You love her over and over again. Thank you, Ma. I don't know why I have to go through this, but you do. I trust you. And you are just clinging to the highest beautiful wisdom of your soul. Because this second chakra really represents the Dwapara age. The first chakra represents the dark age. And then this third chakra, Arjuna, the spiritual warrior, the Kshatriya, that represents the third stage before Satya. And from your heart up is all Satya Yuga consciousness. But look at the work that we need to do. So we have gone over, finally, the Satya Yuga consciousnesses, really, really never forgetting the yamas, really having a powerful no, not this time. Neti, not this, not that. I've done that, been there, maybe next life, Lord, but not this one. This one's for you. And I must say, one of the greatest gifts God has given me in helping me, because God helped you every step of the way of your journey, is that once I found Master's teachings, I just knew that I would take every opportunity I could to meditate instead of do this thing that was just going to be a restless activity. Even to the point where my friends were saying, man, he's a dud. He's a party pooper. My family go, what the hell? Why does he need to go meditate now? Right? But what a habit to develop. You can do all that next time, man. But not now. Not now. Not on this trip. Not on this watch. This is the one. You got it, man. You're already looking out the window of your soul to this vastness, to this amazingness that you are becoming more and more every day in every way. So yeah, so you get that. And then the Arjuna, we talked about that too, where it's just like Krishna's in that chariot behind you, just blasting love through you. This is just where he says, don't mess with love blaster at the third chakra. But it's not you, it's Krishna blasting through you. Then finally we get into our first love at our heart. So those are the ones, and we'll go over those again soon. But I just want to now kind of finish up with the intuition that it's going to be really drastically needed for this Satya and Yuga consciousness to activate and to maintain and sustain until it becomes only the truth of you, which is the only thing you want to have about you right now. Okay. Is it making a little bit of sense this morning? I hope so. I really hope so. All right. So this is that lesson 78, which is conscious evolution. I'll pick up a little bit what I read last time, and maybe we can get to the end of this. All right. And I have some other beautiful readings, but we're getting nearer to completing these verses, I think, 20 to 22 of chapter 8. But then I looked ahead, there's just a couple verses or 3 at the most left, and we're done with chapter 8. But their chapter 8 wraps up with a big punctuation mark about everything we've been studying right now. Every word that we've been putting out there, every nuance of how God is pumping you with so much light and love right now, and giving you everything you need to digest this, to process it, to assimilate it, to crystallize it, right? And then boom, you have a gift of gifts, your own self. What a treasure forever and forever. Oh my gosh. So physical evolution of life on Earth reaches its culmination in the human body, which was a special creation by God to house upward developing animal souls, as well as to accommodate souls from the higher astral world who took physical incarnation to aid in starting the human race, okay? After the human state, though, this is what I thought was interesting, what we said last week. After the human state, some of you might not even think that there's an after the human state, except for the being afraid of death, right? You think that's after the human state. And so you stay human. You stay limited. You stay with a false identification, big time. Because all this is, all yoga is re-identify yourself with who you really are, and transmute, alchemize that stuff that is the old you. And let's replace, let's stamp now our mind, stamp our habits, let's stamp our restlessness and our still sensory appetites. Let's stamp it with more and more of the wisdom, the high wisdom truth that I am immortal, right? I'm an immortal witness of everything, actually. And let's see what we can do there. Just get that soul stamp and every time you remember the beloved, every time you say, and I love you, stamp, 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 and you get enough stamps, and God looks at that and said, okay, you got a free ride. Right? Bonuses, gifts, until finally you realize it's all him, it's all her anyway. All right. So after the human state, the soul graduates to life in its subtle bodies. I'm happy for our graduation, astral and causal. It is then no longer limited by disease or contrary conditions in the outer environment, living a mere 100 years at most of imperfect existence. Rather, being reborn in astral and causal bodies, one acquires the powers of the immortal. Once you get etherized, dears, this is why we're saying this is the become etherized part 2, and it's going to be, the words are going to be right in coming out of Yogananda's mouth here shortly. But once you do that, it's a whole new ball game, right? Rather, being reborn in astral and causal body, one acquires the powers of the immortal. We're trying to awaken those powers right now. It's a trust thing, it's a faith thing. But faith isn't developed in sight. It is developed when you don't see it, when you don't feel it, right? You don't need this to see things before you believe them. You need to learn to believe them, and then you see them. Being reborn in astral and causal body, one acquires the powers of an immortal. All human beings should therefore seek the invulnerable and omnipotent house of their souls, the Satya Yuga consciousness. What's in your spine already, right? The divinity that you already are. You are, as I read in one of the lessons recently, precariously close to deity, Yogananda said. Precariously close, right? All human beings should therefore seek the invulnerable and omnipotent house of their souls, astral and causal bodies, and from there go back to spirit. Good job. Big job. The only job. And then practice of the self-realization, Yoga methods and principles will teach you how, even while living in a physical body, you can learn to draw upon the superior powers and abilities of the higher bodies. Wow, it's all about a higher love, kids. It's all about a higher everything for us. And we keep going, we keep lifting, we keep reaching, right? And then all the while, you're on the shoulders. You're being carried. Or Christ got you on his shoulders and doing all the heavy lifting. All the heavy lifting. It's meant to do that. You're not meant to do any lifting at all. You are meant to surrender everything that you are. So superior abilities of the higher bodies. The deathless, diseaseless, astral body of pranic energy. Did you get that? Deathless, diseaseless, astral body of pranic energy. Who you're right underneath this physical body, you are that. And the causal body of pure consciousness to quicken your capacity for all-around success and soul progress. All right. And then this is the new reading today for this lesson number 78, Conscious Evolution. By the power of concentration and Kriya Yoga practice, you can convert concentration, the devotion, single-heartedness, and the Kriya practice. You can convert the physical body into conscious, thought-directed, finer forces. Conscious, thought-directed, finer forces, so that you will feel yourself to be a tremendous force. A form of energy no longer constrained by the limitations of the fleshly frame. Wow. You will feel yourself to be a tremendous force. A form of energy no longer constrained by the limitations of the fleshly frame. You become etherealized. This is page 15 of lesson 78, Conscious Evolution. You become etherealized. I love that word. You become, because you're no longer constrained by the limitations of the fleshly frame. Yogananda goes on to say, get away from that physical state. Get far away from that physical state. Get as far away from what's happening in this world. Remember what I read to you? That thing, man? You got to memorize that. I took that guided visualization, turn your attention away from the body and out of perceptions, forget the body, forget the earth, forget the sky, forget the sun. And I made a audio of it, and I listen to it every time I get in the car. That's another hint. I'm going to give you some hints, right? Another great hint is in his lessons. Really look for these exercises, these little exercises, these visualizations. They're all over the place. And then let your soul dictate them into your little phone. So it's not you talking. It's not your head talking. It's not you, the busy person and a VIP person, right, who has things to do, right? No, it's your soul talking. And you'll listen and go, man, Master's talking to me directly through my soul. But those are the things that the lessons, the application of these principles is the key to his lessons. All right? So that's what I did. And then I am infinite, I am infinite, I am infinite. This is a whole new ballgame, kids. And guess what? We get to help each other. We get to help each other become etherealized, okay? Isn't that a beautiful thing? Do you have any other friends that are helping you do that? Do you have other friends that are helping to just say, oh, that's great, and they understand you? They're not making themselves above you. In fact, they're probably very humble. Really humble. And all they ever do is remind you of what is really true, really, really important and true about you, and to get you back right on the game plan. All right? Get away from the physical state. Learn how to work with your finer body, finer will, finer feeling, finer forces. You will be able to draw food from the ether. You will be able to feel that cosmic energy coming through your medulla. You'll be really able to take that Shakti shower, man, and that light bath. You will really be able to feel that first love, the always love. I mean, can you imagine every time you just put your consciousness on the truth of you after you've got them activated, your spine, and these truths within you, it's happening, and then it takes you over, and then it's God in you for the rest of forever, and you in God. You'll be able to draw food from the ether. When all physical things refuse to aid you, act through the superphysical astral electric body. When all people ignore you, when all your friends fail you, and all that stuff, what else you got, man? You got everything is what you got. Right at your fingertips, too. Yamas and niyamas, I used to, when I taught them, are the 10 fingertips to happiness. 10 steps to happiness. You got happiness right at your fingertips, okay? When all physical things refuse to aid you, act through that super physical astral electric body, so you'll be able to break any barrier that is before you. Here's something I'm going to read later, but I'm going to read part of it right now. It's from Yogananda's, one of his poems. I swallow death. All right. So I just said, so that you'll be able, when physical things refuse to aid you, act through that super physical astral electric body so that you'll be able to break any barrier that is before you. Yogananda says, I swallow death. All different experiences of the past I drank up, and I shall swallow all changes that are yet to come. Bodies may be shattered in death, kingdoms may be crushed in darkness, the gods themselves may expire in oblivion, but I, the unchangeable witness of the past, of the present, of all future, I am unchangeable. In me is the seed of immortality. Whoa, that's a quote. Put that one on your phone today. I swallowed death, all different experiences of the past I drank up, and I shall swallow all changes that are yet to come. Bodies may be shattered in death, kingdoms may be crushed in darkness, the gods themselves may expire in oblivion, but I, the unchangeable witness, the soul is the unchangeable witness. God in you is the unchangeable witness. It is God himself, herself. Of the past, I am the unchangeable witness of my past, of the present, of all future. I am unchangeable. This world is all change. Don't get involved in the change. Don't think that every day your mood changes and this changes and the health changes and you're getting older. I am unchangeable, and me is the seed of immortality. You are now limited, to go back to the reading of Conscious Evolution, you are now limited by the physical body. You can live in a better body without sickness, without limitation, with a spiritual brain, spiritual muscles, spiritual nerves and feelings. Others will sense the spiritual aura you emanate. Though the whole world be against you, still move on. What did he say in one of his other poems from Yogananda? Dimly, slowly, life is fading, but still my soul is marching on. Dimly, slowly, life is fading, but still my soul is marching on. Songs of the Soul, my soul is marching on. Though the whole world be against you, still move on, destroying the obstacles that stand in your way. Ignore all conditions that obstruct your path. It's just that you think, oh, this is an obstacle, and then your mind makes it an obstacle, right? Ignore it. No, my soul's marching on. Ignore all conditions that obstruct your path. Quicken your evolution and declare, I am a child of God. I am a child of, that's how I want you talking into your phone, man. You may not be that, but put soul into it. I don't want your ego involved in this at all. Get your soul talking to you. It's God in you, spirit in you. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. When we shall be able to free our souls from all physical entanglements, we shall be like divine gypsies. The ties of materialistic civilization that exact our attention bring us nothing but sorrow. But when we shall become like divine gypsies, free from attachments to the body and flesh, we shall live in the eternal kingdom of wisdom. Ooh, niyama, swadhyaya, that's self-reflection, is the eternal kingdom of wisdom, is what it is. While you're being held by Divine Mother, don't have a care in the world, she's taking care of everything. You are just absolutely in tapas, which is that self-discipline to just stay right there. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. I trust you, Ma. I love you, Ma. Free from attachments to the body and flesh, we shall live in the eternal kingdom of wisdom, wherein no disease or poverty will ever dare to break our peace. Yogananda said, danger and I are born together, but I'm the older brother and I'm more dangerous than danger. Danger and I was born together. We're born together, but I'm the elder brother and I'm more dangerous than danger. We shall live in the eternal kingdom of wisdom, wherein no disease or poverty will ever dare to break our peace, wherein all our questions will be answered. That divine freedom we are all seeking. Our feet bleed with the thorns of worries and desires, yet we walk again. Yet we walk again on the path of illusion, and again and again. It is time we retrace our footsteps, homeward bound, and reach finally that divine kingdom wherein we shall be free from all suffering and heartaches. Don't forget, earth life is only a caravanserai where the soul stops for a blink of an eye. Don't give importance to it, for we have to leave it sooner or later and move on into the unknown. But we shall go hand clasped to truth, and so end our miseries and suffering. The time will come when you will be left alone. You must go from this earth alone, and everyone else will be powerless to help you. Understand now that what life is about. If you practice what has been given to you with utmost determination, you will understand. This is the Arjuna determination, utmost determination. Utmost. You got your utmost. This is why you want to keep yourself and get fit for the infinite you in physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual Olympian kind of rock solid, through and through, core, right through. What you say is what you mean, and what you mean is what you say, and you are true blue to yourself, capital S. To lift children to the intuitive plane, to spiritualize human automatons, to hasten animal evolution, to transmute any animalistic instincts in yourself, and thus quicken your own evolution is a great task. You must first find God in yourself, though, and thus be able to behold him in all other living creatures. All right. When you can really feel God within and without, you will know that as God alone has become everything, and that all created things are God vibrations. To develop intuition within yourself, it is established the omniscient image of God within you. To teach children to develop intuition, establish God in others. And to teach animals to develop intuition is to find God in a vaster circle of life. Unless you have found God within yourself and in your family, country, world, and in all living creatures, you have not really found him. Expand your love from self-love to family love, then broaden family love into social love. Then include in the circle of social love national love. Then expand the circumference of national love until it becomes international love. Then include within the circle of international love the love of all God's living creatures. Just as one moon gives more light than all the stars, so as you develop spiritually in intuitive realization of truth, or God, you spread more light of good and truth than many ordinary mentalities put together. One Christ was enough to counterbalance millions of evils. One of you is the same. One Christ was enough to counterbalance millions of evils. Intuitive realization of truth is a more wonderful experience than all sensations created. The intuitive realization of truth is a more wonderful experience than all sensations created. Truth comes only through the love of God. Arjuna, Arjuna, love, 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 love till it hurts no more. Love until it hurts no more, until the pain of this world hurts you no more, until you're no longer listening to this mind. You've stamped on that mind the peace of your soul. You see what we're doing? We're totally re-identifying with soul in this lifetime. So don't half-ass it. Go for it. You seek God first and everything else will come to you. Come on now. In the mental darkness and gloom of ignorance, you cannot perceive the wonders and love of God that fill all creation, all. In the mental darkness and gloom of ignorance. Only those who love God turn on a light of devotion. Only those who love God turn on a light of devotion by which they may see him within and without. Only through the love of God. They turn on a light of devotion by which they may see him within and without. The question is, how can you keep the flash of light I have given to you steadily aglow so that you do not fall asleep again in the darkness? I'm giving you those hints. Let's take these some of these phrases, these pages, when you study your lessons, and that's get it on your phone and listen to it over and over again, especially those exercises. Okay, we got some coming up in the next class or two that I'll just get you going, get your momentum going. So he says the question is, how can you keep the flash of light I have given you steadily aglow, so that you do not fall asleep again in the darkness? By loyal practice of the truths and techniques you have received. Okay. How do you like them apples? You know what I have here, and I know it's 11. Dang, I thought I could get to this, but I think we've finished most of that conscious evolution. We've gone through at least, you know, each week, the steps of Satya Yuga consciousness to hold in your chakras. Of course, we'll review them again and again. We're going to live by them. That's coming up in these next verses, how to keep that fire lit constantly, this fire of truth. And we will remind each other, this is why we're here. But this part of conscious evolution, page 17, are the progressive states of spiritual evolution. See this little, it's kind of those parts of his lessons now that are either a poem or it's a guided visualization. But this wraps up exactly. We're going to start here next week. It's going to wrap up the how from minerals all the way to the superwoman. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the more etherealized, using more of the finer forms of energy, the astral energy, the causal consciousness, and the cosmic and the astral energies, the light and the energy. We're going to see how we evolve through the four castes and how they are identical to the four yugas, the caste, the yugas, and the practice of the Satya Yuga consciousness and what we're doing, all going to come together. In fact, I'll just read the last part of this. To wrap up our session for today. Those who practice the esoteric science of evolution as taught in the lessons on Kriya Yoga can manifest the qualities of the higher ages within themselves, regardless of the outer era in which they live. Paramahansa Yogananda. Those who practice the esoteric science of evolution as taught in the lessons on Kriya Yoga can manifest the qualities of the higher ages within themselves, regardless of the outer era in which they live. Kids, we don't have anything else. I don't know if you can even convince yourself anymore that there's other options. I think many of you are getting to that beautiful place of complete surrender, Ishvara Pranadhana, into Divine Mother's arms. And if you can continue to stay there in her arms, right? And then hold the highest wisdom, and then let's get clear. I'll help you get clear on all these practices because they merge with the whole science of yoga, man. We're getting the best of the best here. But we're here for one reason now, to support each other on this noble quest, okay? So thank you, those of you who spent this time this morning. I hope it was enlightening. I hope something happened. Something happened inside of you that would be a breakthrough you weren't expecting, but actually something that God is doing for you all the time, blessing you, pouring consciousness into you. loving you unbearably, clearing your path today, holding you, and on and on. Let's go there. Let's make that our home, okay? Homeward bound. Love you all. Have a beautiful rest of this eternity today. One breath, one I love you, one moment at a time. God bless.